Tennessee lawmakers returned to the state capitol this week for a special legislative session in response to the Covenant School shooting, where 3 children and 3 school staff members were killed back in March. Laura Barone Lopez has more on what lawmakers will or won't do amid the public outcry.
Mr. Speaker, you have a quorum.
It's a special session months in the making. Facing pressure after 6 people were killed in a mass shooting at a Nashville school in March, Republican Governor Bill Lee called for a special summer session focused on public safety. In the months since, Lee has backed away from a proposal to temporarily remove an individual's access to guns if they're considered a threat, after the Republican supermajority running the state capitol rejected it. Instead, the legislature is looking at other proposals loosely connected to the shooting. Those include school safety measures like alarm systems, tougher sentencing reforms for juvenile offenders, and mental health reform. This week, parents and gun safety advocates again flooded the Capitol, emotionally asking for changes to Tennessee's gun laws. But Republicans in the House and Senate are at an impasse, fighting over the limited legislation they're willing to pass. Democrats argue the legislature needs to address gun violence in the state.
Some of them watched their friend Ryan.
State Representative Gloria Johnson pleaded for change while recognizing the 15th anniversary of a school shooting in her district.
We have to do something. We have to do it for Ryan, and we have to do it for everybody since and everybody in the future.
The special session comes months after thousands of Tennesseans took part in gun reform protests, putting the state capitol in the national spotlight.
This is undemocratic.
2 black Democratic lawmakers, State Representatives Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, were expelled from the legislature for leading a protest on the floor of the state house.
It's so outrageous that the first reaction of this body is to expel me rather than to pass common sense gun laws, which we were asking for.
Both won re-election to their seats in special elections earlier this month. Lawmakers will return to the Capitol to debate the bills next week. Nashville Public Radio's Blaze Gainey has a front row seat to this special session. He joins us now from Nashville. Blaze, thank you so much for joining the NewsHour. Republican Governor Bill Lee is under pressure to deliver some type of response to the Covenant mass shooting, but Republicans in the State House don't want to touch gun laws specifically. So what kind of legislation do you expect to come out of this special session?
There's a little bit of legislation coming, but most of what I see so far is free gun locks from the state for anybody that requests them, another that speeds up the state's background check process, and also one that allows the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to conduct a report on human trafficking.
And do you expect those to ultimately pass out of this special session?
So far, the Senate in the state is looking to pass those. The House also wants to pass those, but they want to do a couple of other things mentioned earlier in the program on mental health and juvenile sentencing also.
And so the GOP supermajority in the House agreed on one thing quickly, which was rules cracking down on protests on the floor and from the public. How has that impacted protests this week?
At first, it really didn't impact much. People were going about it as if the rules hadn't been established. But on Tuesday, in a civil justice subcommittee, the chair told a couple of people to put down their signs. 3 women refused, and 1 was removed by a highway patrolman. Since then, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, sued, and the judge put in a restraining order so that people can hold up their signs for now.
This special session is going to spill into next week, and you reported that the Senate is only willing to pass 3 bills, but Governor Lee has proposed a handful of his own. Is the governor involved in any of these negotiations, and do you think that this prolonged session could make it possible for even more bills beyond the 3 that we outlined, make it possible for any more to pass?
It's highly unlikely because the Senate is very strong in their stance, but politics is crazy. We didn't think that we'd be going until Monday. We thought it in today. So far, the governor has sort of stayed out of it during session, but it's said that he was speaking with lawmakers months up into this special session in order to get those proposals to them. And at the time, they were willing to pass them, but it seems like something must have shifted.
Democrats are functionally powerless in this legislature. What has their approach been to this debate?
To ask a lot of questions, a lot of hard questions about whether or not Republicans believe that the bills that they're trying to pass would actually have stopped a mass shooting. Actually, yesterday, one Republican was asked, why can't he basically admit that guns led to this? And he said that if the person had a rock or a car, they could have also killed people, not putting the blame on weapons and just saying that it's the people they need to address, the mental health issues.
If these bills ultimately pass, the ones that so far appear headed for the governor's desk, they don't have anything to do with actually restricting gun access. So do you think that it will actually satisfy the public? Because there seems to be a lot of outcry for change in response to this mass shooting.
It'll satisfy, people on the right that that want the Second Amendment rights to be upheld. But the Covenant families that are here, the citizens that are here, the Democrats that are elected in office are all outraged at the fact that there seems to be nothing that can happen for Republicans to change their mind on how easy it should be to get a gun.
Blaze, do you think that at all in Tennessee, given the supermajority for Republicans, that this could impact them politically come future elections?
Some of the Covenant families are actually saying, they're going to raise money. They've put up an action fund and saying they're going to raise money to try to get people out of office. It'll just have to wait and see. Like you said, they have a supermajority. It's not like 2 or 3 seats will change anything here. I just highly doubt that they'll have any kickback from this.
Well, we'll be watching closely next week to see where all of these bills end up and if they reach the governor's desk. But Blaze Gainey of Nashville Public Radio, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.